6 degrees. The myth of 6 degrees states that all the people in the world are no more than 6 handshakes away from each other. You might want to look up 6 degrees on your internet browser, or you could also look up Small World Experiment on Wikipedia. The myth of 6 degrees is also known as the Small World Dilemma. A lot has been written about the idea. Many people find the notion of 6 degrees hard to believe. The intuitive answer to the question, how many handshakes away are you to randomly picked persons who, e.g., for example, live in a different part of the world, would be tens, if not 100 handshakes away. One then might do the following speculative thought experiment. I know 100 persons, each one of them knows 100, and each one of them 100. If none of my friends know any of my other friends, and the same applies to all the friends of any friend I have, even that would take 5 handshakes to reach the whole global population. In other words, if you count it, 100 times 100 times 100 times 100 times 100 is 10 billion, a bit more than the whole global population. Since most of my friends know each other, I would assume that to reach everybody, more handshakes than 5 are needed, or then I would need to assume that somebody along the route of friends has a huge amount of friends that do not know each other. The notion of 6 degrees is intriguing also because it simply states that such a route exists. But it does not say that one could specifically find it or search for it. Hence, many people make the conclusion that since they do not know how to identify the route, it does not exist. Let's try another thought experiment. Imagine you have 30 persons in your classroom. Then you form a circle, holding hands with your immediate neighbor. The person holding hands with you is 1 handshake away. The person at the opposite end of the circle would be 15 handshakes away. To make the world smaller, in other words, decrease the amount of handshakes, you could, for example, have every 5th person in the circle connect also directly to the person, for example, 8 places away from him or her. The number of handshakes between 2 randomly chosen persons would decrease drastically. Try it or draw it and look at the drawing. The Small World Dilemma was first solved and proven by mathematicians Stephen Strogatz and Duncan Watts, and their article was published on the Nature magazine. Mathematicians also use the expression of scale-free networks. These networks typically have some nodes. For people, if we are talking about a people network, it has a lot of some people that have many connections. These nodes with many connections I like to call superconnected nodes, and they are the key to the existence of a small world. In other words, if there are no superconnected nodes, the degree or the amount of handshakes of separation will be relatively large. In economics, we always ask the question, what does price matter? We talk about price sensitivity. Interestingly, a fixed internet connection has, from its origins, its beginnings, in many cases had a flat rate pricing. In other words, you paid the same price every month, independent on how much you used it. At the early stages, the connection speed was very low, at a kilobyte level. But nevertheless, you could use that connection for as much as you wanted. Small worlds exist in physical environments also. And coming back to the issue of price, in other words, what does price matter in the formulation of small world networks? Let me tell you a true life story. During one particular Christmas, a particular member of the Parliament of Finland sent a big bunch of Christmas cards. Guess how many? The answer is unbelievable. The answer is 18,000. He is reputed to have signed every single card personally and started signing in April so that the cards would be ready and signed by Christmas. With 18,000, he is a super connected node of the physical world. But the question is, what does price matter? Well, tell me, can you afford to send 18,000 Christmas cards? On the internet, with flat rate pricing, the price of sending one message is the same as the price of sending 18,000 messages, or even 1,000,000 messages. Flat rate pricing means that the marginal price of a single message is zero. This will allow super connected nodes, in other words, people who send a huge amount of messages, or if you like, a very connected, well-known blog writers to emerge. And because of this, the internet is a very connected world, and because of its connectedness, it is also, because of sophisticated search engines, a searchable world. In early 2000, mobile operators were trying to bring the internet onto your mobile handsets. However, the pricing was transaction-based. In other words, you paid per text message sent, per minute called, and per megabyte of data. In my opinion, and based on the impact of price in scale-free networks, transaction-based pricing prevented the mobile internet from emerging. In my article, an interview by Howard Rheingold, titled Email, Scale-Free Networks and the Mobile Internet, and subsequently in my PhD thesis, I was the first in the world to argue that marginal pricing zero is essential to make the internet possible, and hence that the mobile internet will not take off until pricing models change toward flat rate pricing. Those operators that have, knowingly or by chance, followed this advice have become successful with their mobile internet introductions. Today, mobile operators are facing new challenges. Transmission speeds have grown. A 20 megabyte mobile connection is becoming the norm. Individuals are watching video content and at most consuming even gigabytes of data. Operators are frustrated by the increase of data consumption, the need to invest, and the inability to get the data consuming customer to pay. The frustration is understandable, but when designing new data plans, operators will have to keep the relationship between connectedness and price in mind. The individual user should bear in mind that the internet is a very connected place. An uploaded video might spread like wildfire. This is known as becoming viral. The individual user can try and find communities that share his interest and use them to make his own content viral. The individual user should also be aware of the networks he or she builds. Applications like Facebook recommend you to connect to people who are already your friend. From the point of view of connectedness, you should seek people who know none of your friends. Try the application Friend Wheel on Facebook. It will give a graphical presentation of your network. Business on the internet is very much about knowing how to leverage its connectedness, in other words, the phenomena of 6 degrees.